Back live with you tonight. The South African Weather Service warns that thunderstorms and heavy rains can be expected over the western parts of KwaZulu-Natal. It has also cautioned disaster teams to be on alert, especially in KwaZulu-Natal, as it is likely to experience more rain in the coming months. For more on this, we're joined now by the MEC for Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs in KwaZulu-Natal, Sihle Zikalala. MEC, good evening, and thank you very much for your time and for joining us today here on In Focus. Last night, we were in conversation with the Democratic Alliance, raising concerns, firstly, about capacity issues when it comes to the Disaster Management Center. Just address one of the questions that they raised. In fact, they said they put this question to you around the vacancies of the 21 or 31 posts, if I'm not making a mistake. Only 17 have been occupied and the rest have been left vacant, which is raising questions around the capacity.
No, thanks, Thabo, and greetings to the viewers. I think the question of vacancies in the department, especially on the unit that is focusing on disaster management, is the issue that we are addressing. We are even capacitating that unit, splitting it into two so that there will be those who deal with overall policy work, but those who deal with coordination, so that there is a clear and comprehensive plan of coordination. I don't believe that we should politicize the issue of disaster. The lessons we've learned are the lessons that tell us that we should unite, focus on critical areas that can help us mitigate against the effect of disasters. So it will be important that we share opinions, we share strategies, and then be able to deal with issues at hand.
And as far as that question of vacancies, I mean, does it give rise then to capacity issues? Do you think you have adequate ability to be able to respond, especially coming from the April floods? And if we were to experience some more downpours, especially during the next couple of weeks?
Well, firstly, we must always be factual that historically, we have never thought we will experience floods that are at the level that we experienced in April and May this year. And that was eye-opener, and we are learning from that, and we are now building more capacity. But it will be wrong to suggest that we don't have a capacity to deal with disaster. In this province, we've got the Provincial Disaster Management Center, which is fully equipped. We've got district disaster management centers, which have been built by the province. And we've got the Metro Disaster Management Center, which is well equipped. So we have a capacity. We do also have personnel that are in those centers, working day and night and trying to coordinate the interventions of government. Yes, we might have not be possessing sufficient capacity and still have vacancies, but those vacancies are not so many that we can say we don't have a capacity.
And then as far as the question of budget, so there's a concern and maybe some lamenting the fact that there are other provinces who have 4 times more of a budget than you have, considering that the province has seen the degree of disaster that they have currently seen this year. So saying that the amount of money that has been allocated to disaster management is far less than what should be allocated to it.
Well, we'll continue to engage with the national government on that issue. But what I can report now is that there is money that has been allocated to some municipalities to support municipalities in trying to rebuild the infrastructure that was destroyed during the April and May floods. We also have received some money that went to the Department of Human Settlement for rehousing people who are in community service centers. We do experience shortage in terms of income, but we appreciate the little that we have received. Yes, we would have loved to get more in terms of the damage. It is not enough what we've received to cover the damage. eThekwini is one of those municipalities that suffered hugely in terms of the infrastructure, whether you talk of sewerage, water and electricity, as well as roads. But also it is one of those that suffered in terms of human settlement. They are trying their best. The department is supporting them, and other municipalities too are supported in terms of ensuring that we rebuild better and in a manner that will help to be resilient.
Let's talk about that recovery then from the April floods. As we speak now, there are, of course, still certain families which are living in the temporary arrangements that you had made following the disaster. How long are they still going to be there?
Well, you will remember, Thabo, that we are moving from about 110 community service centers. Right now, maybe there are about 36 or less. And that tells you that there is a progress. However, bureaucratic processes delayed us. Secondly, the lack of sufficient funds delayed us. Thirdly, the availability of land was also a problem. We are working around the clock to get all people settled in either temporary residential units or having houses. We've even adopted a strategy of ensuring that we get places either that were hotels before and repurpose those places to accommodate these people for a short time while we are rebuilding. So the work is continuing, and we keep those people informed and updated.
So the report that says 3,000 people were still housed in mass care centers, is that accurate? Is that the sum number of the people who are there?
Well, I would not want to play on figures. What I can report is that right from April-May floods, we had around 110 community care centers. We've reduced that to less than 36. I don't want to venture into the actual number of people, because you find that there are people who are not sleeping in community care centers. They only come during the day to get food, and then they stay somewhere. Others stay in their own homes, and they come and get food and go back. So I wouldn't want to take that approach, but I would want to be specific and scientific in this analysis.
Yeah. So in terms then of what you have planned financially, in terms of what you have planned in terms of resources, manpower, and the response following the alert, of course, that is given by the South African Weather Service, what can you share with us of what is on the ground?
The alert have warned us that given that we experience heavy rains on Sunday, Monday, and today, they are indicating that it is going to subside from Tuesday, which is today, till Thursday. But over the weekend, we will see also heavy rains. That's why we've activated our disaster management center, and it is meeting every day. And the district disaster management centers are meeting also every day. And we are trying to identify areas that are at risk, especially those low-lying areas around the river banks where people are staying. And we're trying to ensure that those people are informed so that when the rain starts, they get evacuated to at least safer areas.
The incidences that have been reported so far, for example, in the Mgeni local municipality, Ugu district, Ngutu, Ndwedwe municipality, Midmar and Henley Dams in Sunduzi local municipality that have reported, for example, incidents of overflowing and so on and so forth, and potential risks to households. How are you responding and intervening in those areas?
In Umngeni under Umgungundlovu, about 10 houses were partially damaged, and we have dispensed the team that is doing assessment and trying to assist the people either through supporting them in rebuilding their houses or getting temporary shelters while they rebuild. In Indwedwe, we have done the same, and in Imutu is a question of lightning that hit that household. It's not a question of floods. In Umsunduze, the Midma and Henley Dam, they are overflowing those two dams, and we have alerted the communities at the low end of those two dams that they are in danger, because as these dams are overflowing, the water might go to their households. And we believe that those people have listened and will respond as we have guided them.
Yeah, of course, it's festive season, holiday season, and a time when the province sees a lot of tourists going to tourism establishments there. Is there any concern or maybe even fear on your part that those tourism establishments could be affected by severe weather? And is there a way to help those who might be in distress?
Yes, we have put in place emergency services in all areas, but we will want to assure visitors that some areas are not affected, such as eThekwini, your CBD, areas around the beach, around the north and the south of eThekwini, which is your south coast, and the north coast, Richards Bay, going up the north to Kosi Bay and other areas. So we'll encourage visitors to come, and we will ensure that those who operate whether hotels or B&Bs are alert, so that they will always inform their visitors. We have a plan, but we encourage tourists to come, because we cannot stop people from coming. It's livelihood. They must come and enjoy themselves. MEC,
appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. MEC for Cooperative Governance.
Thanks a lot, and thanks for having us.
KwaZulu-Natal there. That is Sihle Zikalala.